Morning. Today I thought I would show you my first few journals that I made in this paper crafting journey that I'm on. And just to encourage you to get started, it doesn't have to be anything large or fancy, or you don't have to go buy anything fancy to do it. I'm going to start with the very first one I made, which is this turtle journal. And what it was, I was waiting for my son to come home, and I had been watching all the YouTube videos and wanting to do a journal and had been putting it off. And so Christmas 2022, I was waiting for my son to come home, and I said, I'm just going to make myself busy. He has a 3.5-hour drive to get here. Sometimes it takes longer with stops. So I thought I'm going to do this while I'm waiting so that I'm not thinking about him coming home. So I got out some cardboard and some tissue box and a few little cutouts that I had been saving. And I don't think there's anything in here that I actually bought. Paper bag. So the cover is just plain brown cardboard with some cutout from a tissue box with the wood grain, and then a piece of tissue paper, and then the turtle over top. It's bound with a 3-hole pamphlet stitch, but just with jute twine. So it's very rustic. Don't have anything antiqued or anything. I didn't even own any antiquing or ink at that point. Inside the front cover, I have a paper bag pocket with some more pieces of the tissue box. See, the corners aren't even rounded on it. And I could go back and change some of this, but I want to keep it as simple as it was when I made it, just to show myself how far I've come in my journey. So this little waterfall, I must have seen that. I don't remember even making this one. A little waterfall paper pad out of paper bag with the rough edges of the paper bag left on. So I didn't do that with scissors, that was just there. And then a little tab over the top made out of the tissue box. And I used the cutout that was already in the paper bag for the pocket here, and then just the rough edge here. Then I have some tracing paper, a couple of sheets, and then paper bag. There's not a lot of embellishment. Again, I could go back and do more, but I think I would rather just leave it as it is for memory's sake. I made a little booklet out of, again, the tissue box and paper bag pieces. That one's really thick, like from the bottom of the bag, that piece. That's okay. That's what I love about this, is that there's no rules. Again, the cutout from the top edge of the bag. And this is a little, I think, some sort of clothing tag that I just put some brown paper bag on top of the writing, and there was another price tag there. It looks like there's a square imprint. And just twine jute for the little tag topper. And that, I don't know what brand that was, but that kind of goes with the theme. And very, very plain. But there's lots of room to write and lots of room to store goodies. So this was a little pocket. It's starting to get loose. I think I was just using white glue. So that's somewhere else you could tuck something. And then another little booklet with staples. And again, the tissue box, paper bag, and some Post-it note that I had with zebra print on it. So there's a few pages of that. So a little booklet on the front of the booklet, you might say. And some of it even still has the writing, LCBO. And that one's got a little built-in tuck that I didn't even know was there either. So, cool. And there I am again, saying cool too much. And over here we've got another pocket with the tissue box, a little bit of paper bag on top, room for a label or something. And then another little booklet with the Post-it notes and paper bag. And I think that one I just glued because it was Post-it notes already. Didn't need to be stapled. And then a tag, just a plain. This was from little tabs that I use on the edge of the page. Like they're like a Post-it tab. And those come on that. So that one's just plain. And then a couple more little pieces that could be used or used as bookmarks. Again, not even corner rounded. And another little Post-it note booklet. You can see from the folds here, this used to be like near the bottom of the bag. Some string in there. I don't know why that's in there. And a little bit of those Post-it notes. And another tag. Just a brown cardboard tag with black edging. See, I didn't even have ink. I used a marker or something. And, oh, that's come unglued again. You can see where I've just glued with white glue, and it gets really hard. So I could go back on that and fix that up. But I might not. The fine line markers is the one colorful thing in the whole book. So that was project number 1, and I was quite happy with myself. I didn't think I could do it, and there I did it. And then I watched a video on how to make a book out of envelopes, junk mail envelopes. So I made 2 the same day. I made 1 and just left it plain. So it has pockets. You can see that it's just made out of envelopes and paper bag decorating. My intent with this was to keep it sort of as an idea in an idea box or something, and maybe go back and decorate it someday, maybe not. So there's some pockets in the top and some pockets in the side. You can see the ones in the top really easily. And just lots of room to decorate or add to it. There's a pocket up here that you can't really see. I left some of the postage exposed and covered up all of the, there are probably bills or government envelopes. So that was the blank one, and then here's the one that I did the same day but decorated it. So the cover has, I don't have a big circle punch, so I used my big scalloped circle punch, which is a little bit, it's easy to damage those edges because of the points. Little cutout from a calendar, some cutouts from some printables, and this was from either a magazine or an ad. And then just a pink strip of paper, like just a little collage. That was probably one of the first collages that I got into doing. And then the spine has a piece of like a chenille fabric from fabric swatches, and then wraps around to another rose cutout, fussy cut, not really fussy, just circle cut. I signed it, JAG 24, so I made this one early this year. And another little printable. This was just a dollar store scrapbook paper from a 6x6 pad, I think. And then, so the first page is 2 envelopes glued together, I think it is. Well, that's showing the inside of an envelope there. So I've got a little tag in there, which was, I think, was an actual price tag that I just glued on top of the writing with some of that same scrapbook paper and a piece of adding machine roll on there. You can see, I don't know if you can see the inside of the envelope has got that fancy pattern. And then the first page here I've covered with some book page, which is actually just magazine page. And then did a little flip down notes lined paper with a little purple topper. And these little round stamps come out of a book of postage stamps that had flowers on them. Actually, that's where that might have come from. And they were just little extra things that you could use to seal the envelope, I guess. And then I've got a strip of actual fabric in here as reinforcing the inside seam. And then this page is just a collage. It isn't a pocket or anything, just all the colors and then a little floral and the word explore that I've printed out somewhere. And there's no pocket here. This one's closed up. This is very stiff from all the glue. So it's kind of like a board book almost. And then again, just a decorated page with some beige floral, some purple and blue and pink writing and that fabric again. And then this page does have a pocket in the top with a little journaling card tucked in there. And that's one that I just made out of file folder and a printable. And that one does seem to be inked. This is more recent. And rounded corners, you can see. how I progressed. Nowadays, if I was to do this, I'd probably use coffee dyed paper because I hadn't been coffee dyeing yet then, but I was inking. And then the magazine page glued underneath. And then this page I really like. It's got the book page paper, the scrapbook paper, some lavender, fussy cut, not inked. And then this little tuck spot is a little ladybug that my mom had embossed, and I cut it out. And then this is some of the adding machine roll. Oh, see some of my glues coming loose there. Adding machine roll that I used the fancy edge scissors along the edge of it. And this is quite a big fold out. So you could write whatever you wanted on there or make a big long list on there. And then that all tucks back into the little tuck spot. I might go back and reglue that. More of the fabric, more of the printable lavender as a tuck spot. So this I printed out and then glued to a little bit of card to make it thicker so that it's going to stand up to having things tucked behind it. And then this is more of the adding machine paper, just torn on the ends and fold it up. And again, nowadays I'd probably ink that. And then two more of the little embossing powder ferns that my mom had done. And she loved these colors. They go perfect with that scrapbooking paper. And then no more pockets in that one. There's another one of her ferns. A couple of little butterfly stickers, quite shiny. And then this little envelope I decorated with more of that scrapbook paper. And it's an envelope that I got, the cardboard envelope, but I got the cleaning cloths for jewellery in it. That's what it was. And then just a little bit of paper inside of it. Place to write down some lists or secrets or document something. And then this is just a nice collage page again with a bit of the vellum see-through sticky notes. I think that's from that postage stamp book package. And then a little printable ticket, one other butterfly, use your wings. And I just like the way that all looked, and I love the vellum. And then this one has top pockets. So I've got a couple of tags in there that I made, journaling spots really. So a little bit of coffee dyed paper on the back of that one. Black antiquing or inking around the edges because of the sunflowers. And then this one has very dark inking around the edges. And it's just a cutout from a book from work, I think. A construction book or something. Not even sure what that's a picture of. Maybe some wood or some cork or something. And then coffee dyed paper on the back. I like things with texture like that. And then this is just a collage page. And this one is a tuck spot. This is the center from an Kleenex box covered in napkin. And then this is a printed tag. And this is a printable journaling spot just done on cardstock or thicker paper. And then a little cutout of a church just from a calendar. And then at the very end here, we've got a little bookmark / tag with the scrapbooking paper on one side and a bit of that adding machine roll on the other side. And another little pretty magnolia or apple blossom card. And that's, I think there was 7 envelopes. And if I can find the video that I saw, I can't even remember which YouTuber it was that had been doing these, I will try to link it for you so you can watch how to do it. And maybe I'll do a video on it myself someday. I'll add it to my little to-do book. And then the last one I want to show you right now is a 2 signature book that I did with some sort of packaging material cardstock for the cover. And I collaged on it. Sort of just strips of collage, very pale inking. I don't even remember what that was. It's yellowish right now. And then a strip out of probably a calendar with the fancy cutout that I have the punch for. Paper bag for the spine and brown cord for the sewing in the signatures. And a bunch of different papers collaged. So this is some printed or photocopied coloring page, some map, a printable music with bees on it. This is actually out of an old magazine. And then this is from a calendar. So trying not to use too many printables. I was kind of going printable crazy at first, but then I realized there's so much to use that you don't have to print stuff off. So this is from an old magazine. I have a lot of old magazines. And some scrapbook paper that was my mom's. A little cluster in the corner, which is just, I'll do a thing on clusters, they're fun. And then I just folded that over to make a little tuck spot here. Some of that bee music paper. And then just a couple plain pieces of paper, a doily. This nice ivory paper. This is from some statements from where I work. We'll get them sent to us every month, and we don't really send them to the customers, so I cut off the parts that don't have writing on them to use. Some more ivory paper. This was some, what do you call it? Stationery, vintage stationery with horse on it. And then this is just paper from the dollar store. You can buy notebooks with this dot paper. My son likes that. And then this is some paper that was from a business from a friend of mine who wasn't using the stationery anymore. So it's beige, and then ivory on the other side. So I used that to photocopy some coloring page. And then in the center of this signature, I have a paper bag, which I've left the one side as it was, and the other side I cut open and put a tab in it. And I think this was with my whale tail punch. So I've done a collage on the front, put a little sticker down here, and I've got a couple of tags in each one. This one was made from a paint chip book, which I cut up and made into some different tags, different colors of tags, and that's just a printable one. And then another little, I think this might have been one from a store that I just covered the writing on it. And then this one was one of the first ones I sewed around. It's got music paper and tissue paper on top of that, and then sewed around it. And my sewing machine doesn't like working on thick paper, but a lot of the junk journals on YouTube, they just leave it like that, so I did too. I'll figure that out. And then more of the coloring paper. So as we go through the signatures, obviously it's the same. That's the other side of that stationery with the horse. And the other side of the doily. So that's the first signature. And then some more clusters. I have a whole book of clusters, which I'll do a flip through of one of these days. And then second signature is very similar, so I'll go a little faster. We got mostly the same pages. So in this book, there's lots of room for writing or doing more collages or whatever you want to do. I put in some dragonfly printable journaling card postcards. So these were just things I printed off and then glued onto some packaging with a plain back. Could coffee dye some paper and put on the back. This one was a white back, so I just inked it a little bit so it didn't look so white. And then another cluster, another one of those dragonfly postcards. They're kind of like mini postcards. And then some printable music paper, which I shrunk down, which I thought was really a neat look to have the tiny little music. And since then, I've found on some actual vintage sheet music, in the advertisements, you can get them kind of this size. So I'm going to make some of those out of actual vintage music paper too. Again, I'm trying not to use so many printables. So that's the book front to back. And then some more, the old magazines had more like a newsprint in them, which I thought was neat. So that's my first few journals. They're not fabulous, but I love them. And I don't plan on changing them other than maybe gluing a couple of things down. I want to keep them as a memento to where I started. And in the next video, I'll show you some more recent ones that are a little more refined and might appeal to you if these ones don't. So stay tuned, like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Thank you.